Hi there. So this is going to be a walkthrough of Connable Road's You Win mix that I just finished. I did another video where I pretty much just let the song play top to bottom and showed some plugin settings and stuff. This is going to be more of a deep dive. Let's just go from top of the song. Start with the intro. So stick clicks, a little bit of reverb, no big deal. Another sound to make the sticks feel deeper. Kick drum type of element. And then the main synth here is kind of do the most, movement. Musically it's pretty simple, but the sound design is kind of what makes it come to life. And then there's a low synth under that too. Just kind of a low kind of thing. And then in this part, that bap bap bap, I kind of mimicked that. You can see that the cuts made here in the audio, as well as these risers down here, so you'll hear that stutter in there. And I decided even at the last minute to make these guitars up here do that as well. So I'll turn those on. Just to kind of add to that percussive nature of what that other part is doing. So onward with the song here. And then these guitars, originally tracked with the Kemper. I decided to reamp them. I used a Myasnikov AAF preamp. It's like an Ingalls Savage copy. Rack mount preamp into a VHT power section through the effects loop, that trick. Cool sound. And one thing about this guitar sound is I normally prefer like a warm, kind of low mid push on guitars, but for some reason, this type of song needed the guitars to be really thin. Not so much thin, but relatively thin, I guess. And you'll see in the chorus kind of why that is like that. That kind of drives that. So I've got a bright sound to begin with, and then a cut up here. That looks like it's maybe about 150 or something like that. That's kind of high, a lot higher than I usually do it for a heavy rock guitar sound. And then a little bit of compression just because I love the way it sounds. So about 4 dB reduction there. Let's check out the bass. That's the DI with the Ampeg plug-in on it. A little bit of EQ, whoop-de-doo. A little bit of reduction, keep it in place. So I decided to use the DI as a kind of a clarity piece once you hear this amp sound. It's a reamp, I guess, technically. Because again, I did it with Kemper before, but I decided to reamp for this mix. And even this particular riff is a little bit muddy and woofy in the bottom. If I go to the chorus, a little more clarity there. We'll get to the chorus in a minute. But anyways, so I've got the kind of the drive and mid-range and low end from the reamp. And then that kind of a glassy top, if there's any glass to be had in this sound, is coming from the DI. So then let's touch on these drums here. Like nothing crazy is happening here. Like I replaced all the shells. The overheads are just a stereo. I think it's even a ribbon mic. Yeah, High pass at 270. That's it, looks like. A little bit of compression. I mean, nothing exciting at all happening there. That's the old thing. Remove that. Okay, so yeah, kick drum. No surprises here, you know. I probably committed a little bright, which is why I removed all the snap on top. Nothing crazy happening here either. This is maybe a new trick for some. I got this one sample that I like to use for the sub content, and that's kind of all it does. I also chop the crap out of the top and mids, so it only... It just adds the subness to the kick drum. I like that trick too, so you can kind of control it too, so if it gets to be a fast part, you duck it down or whatever. Snare drum. Typical fat splat EQ, and again, I probably committed it bright because I did this like 5 years ago originally, so I was going through my bright phase. Added some more air back on there. So you'll notice here that it's only the transients that I'm killing all this top on. I like the ring out of it, if you will, to be bright, kind of airy. So a little bit of boxy addness to that there, and then a little more air on top. And then probably nothing crazy with reduction. Yeah, just 3 dB, like, who cares? 5 dB, you know, no big deal. Samples are pretty steady state to begin with, so we'll carry on here. Okay, verse 1. Starts off with a little boom there. Nothing crazy. A little, I'll get to that synth later. So drums and bass. That's the groove. Pretty straightforward. Drums are just kind of laying back, you know. Bass is doing a slow, slinky, lazy thing. This synth is rhythmically a little bit different, so I had to like kind of thin it out with the EQ just so it wasn't competing and fighting with the bass. So I tried to make it like a crunch guitar almost type of fitting into the arrangement there. Let's check out the vocals. There's some sauce is starting to happen here. So
I'll never be more than what you hear or read about.
Nothing crazy on the vocals. I mean, a cut at 600 is high pass at 600 is a little extreme usually, but I didn't want the vocals to be too weighty in this section.
I'll never be
a little width happening there. Ping pong. I don't think that even goes anywhere. Yeah, that's probably not even happening. A little slap delay, bass a quarter note reverb, and this printed thing here is kind of neat. It's printed and dark and distorted just to give it some width and ambience and vibe.
I'll never be more than what you
and that's going to a ping pong.
Even then I'll be a distant afterthought. Hang my head and wait for the fire to burn out. If it's all the same, I'll take the blame. This failure is fatal. And
okay, so that's all for the verse. Going to the chorus where a whole bunch of new stuff starts to happen.
failure is fatal. Time will always be chasing. Doesn't matter what you do or say. All I've got is my indecision. Leaves me standing in my own way.
Okay, let's check out drums and bass are pretty much the same as far as arrangement goes. Nothing happens there. Guitars come back in. I do want to touch on part of what makes that low cut necessary on these guitars, just because they're kind of playing at completely different part than, say, the bass, and you know, that foundational sort of rhythm, real straight, da, 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 playing root notes. You know, not a whole lot of changes. And this guitar is like, it's got a lot more notes. It's got a lot more movement. It's more busy. It's everything. So I had to cut the low end out of the guitars to make both rhythms happen at the same time without them getting in the way of each other. So we've got the straight bass, and then something that's even more dumbed down than what the bass is doing is this, what I'm calling the sub pulse. And that's just a synth doing the, you know, the shuffle beat, da, 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 da. So that's pretty cool. I'll take the sub out of the whole mix and just kind of see how it sort of loses a little bit of pulse.
Always be chasing. Doesn't matter what you do or
Like
say.
all
I've got is my indecision.
So that's a fun trick. Let's see, we've got some pads happening. Okay. So in your stereotypical kind of butt rock sort of arrangement, the guitars would be doing that. You know, da na na na. They'd be following the bass, na 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 na. So this synth is kind of covering that ground because the guitar is playing more of the main riff than the chords. So, and here's some other production crap that's just kind of like for ambience. Nothing super crazy. It sounds like they're playing thirds, maybe roots and thirds, just for a little bit of that musical kind of drama, you might say. And let's go to the vocals here, because this is a pretty interesting stack. I like this harmony, the low mid that he did here. So here's the lead.
Time will always be chasing.
Again, nothing crazy here. A cut, maybe a little high, only because the synth and stuff, I want that to kind of be the weight and not the vocals. A little cut there. Duplicate, which I like to make dark.
Time will always be chasing. Doesn't matter what you do or say. All I've got.
So this duplicate track here, I like it. It just adds thickness, but without, I don't want the doubled effect, which is why I've got all the upper mid-range presence cut, and even the sibilance on top is also cut here. So it's supposed to be thick and wide, and then also both of these get added to the widener stereo width plugins in my effects chain. So effects template rather. So also, what do we got?
I will always be chasing. Doesn't matter what you do or say. All I.
Low unison vocal, nothing crazy, pretty clean.
Time will always be chasing.
And that gives the vocal like some weight and sort of spookiness and smoothness at the same time. So it really adds to the bigness there. What else we got?
Time will always be chasing.
This is the cool harmony I was talking
Doesn't
about.
matter what you do or say. All I've got is my indecision. Leaves me standing in my own way. Time will always be chasing. Doesn't matter what you do or say. All I've got is
Falsetto unison, you know, again, same thing as the low, but just on the other side of the spectrum. Falsetto gives it a smoothness, airiness. It's just kind of like a guitar sound. Like you've got your treble in your high gain, you've got your low in your high gain guitar sound. You got your bass and treble. That's what falsy and this Vox low track is doing. And then if we're sticking with the presence or with the guitar amp metaphor, this might be your presence knob here, the whisper.
time will always be chasing. Doesn't matter what you do or say. All I've got is my indecision.
So that makes it really kind of, it just adds another layer to it that you wouldn't necessarily think about. Like, you're not going to perform that live, but on record, it makes it just another element to the sauce. So Like I said, this is all about stacking and sound design and arrangement and stuff, so wanted to point that out. Moving on. This was, we originally wrote this in maybe 2015, which is maybe towards the third quarter of the dubstep movement, so that's what all this is from. And this track is committed, as you can see. It was originally like, I think each one of these little riffs is its own track, so probably was at like 10 or 15 tracks, something like that. I always like how that trailed off and just kind of died. Also a fun fact, the way that we wrote this was, I think the singer Ryan, like, he like scatted the drop like on a scratch vocal track, because we knew we wanted to put it there, but we just didn't really know how to make him at the time. So I took his vocal thing and like recreated it with a synth and filters, sweeps, and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure that's around somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So V2, a little bit different arrangement starts to happen. We go 808s and kind of a breakdown verse. Was it to myself I can't. Nothing crazy happening there. I felt that life crawling back to. This sound I think is pretty cool. Call it the chain. Drums are doing a pretty cool like side stick sort of beat here. Sounds pretty cool here too. Downge. And that's happening every time he hits the tom in this little riff. I feel the shooting come and then also happening there is the guitar comes in, bass is kind of supporting it. And again, the bass had to play up high because the 808 is covering all the lowness here. This is a double track guitar part, but one of them is a room sound, just to not make it so freaking in your face. Popping the vocals here. I feel the shitty cover band. I think the lead here has got like auto-tune like cranked up in this first half, and then it goes more natural in the second half. Happen to wonder out loud, or was it to myself I can't be sure. A little vocal synth for a double. So two different types of sounds. One's warm and one is kind of brighter. Was it to myself I can't be sure when I made the sound. I felt that life crawling back to me. I feel the shitty cover. So also at the same switch, when we go to the natural vocal, one of these vocal synths adds a harmony into the mix. I feel the shitty cover band. I do believe I don't. That one stays doing some. That might be a triad right there at the end, which I think is pretty cool. But so yeah, the theme here, which is again like the chorus vocal stack. We've got our lead, and then this guy is warm, filling in the low side, and then this guy is mids and top for the stack, so it all kind of sounds like an even full thing. And then chorus happens again. It's a double chorus. The vocal arrangement's the same. The thing that happens at the double chorus is this guitar harmony. So we've got the main riff here. That comes in. breakdown is, again, a whole new territory for the song. So, single guitar here. Okay, so the first 4 bars is like a drumline type of feel. And that's these 5 tracks here. What else happens after? Yeah, da, ba, ba happens after kind of the introduction of the groove. Let's see, we've got, yeah, your kick and claps kind of. So there's an electronic element to this bridge too, where we've got that happening. Also a synth with some kind of sweepy thing. I don't know what I did here, but it's kind of doing the internal rhythm as what a hi-hat might do. Also, after this 4 bars of groove establishment, let's call it, we've got some trappy hi-hats madness that starts to happen. Okay, so sorry about that. Yeah, we've got the electronic piece is in full swing by this point, so let's put all that drums back in there. And the drum kit is completely out by then. Okay, also, sort of the lead instrument, if you will, is this WUBZ. I should have spelled it WUB, but I'm not sure why. And that's similar to the drop thing. It's just like a note that's being swept through, you know, with a filter. Okay, then coming up here, we got a little bit of relief musically. The tension is kind of releasing before we build back into the final chorus. Little light crunch guitars there. This guitar here for ambience. I really like this part, but I couldn't make it any louder in the mix. There's just not enough room for it, but I really like it, so let's show it off. Add some synths in the mix here. That guy's still barely going. This one's kind of silly, but it's so far down in the mix you don't really notice it. So again, this is all just layers of sauce here. Nothing crazy with bass and drums. Oh yeah, that sound reminded me. I want to show off the top of the breakdown here. It's got a pretty cool like launch type of sound. Here we go. So. Kind of the Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff type of sound. Okay, so we're going into chorus 3. I had to add a fake crash into this just because it wasn't hitting hard enough without it. So the drums, they're not particularly bright. I think he's only hitting one cymbal. The mics are kind of dark, so I had to compensate with that for some artificial sweetener. So this chorus is pretty much the same. The double chorus harmony happens one time sooner, just so we're getting to in the name of getting to the point. And then the double chorus is actually, I don't know what you'd call it. It's just like I always call it a victory lap, but it's just like, it's the chorus chords, something new happens with the vocals, the drums go halftime, and then what I call this kill switch engage guitar here comes in to kind of like beef it up and kind of bring it on home. Let's kind of dissect what's happening here. So it's like, you thought this song had a lot of tracks. Now we're adding even more. So let's see what's all happening here. We've got these guys. They're not new to the party, but this guy is when he comes in. Sort of a soaring kind of melodic thing. And if you notice this sudden abrupt volume dip here, it's because I found that this note was clashing with the vocals. Similar thing to this, actually. Huh. I probably should have made them do more similar things. They're just kind of junking each other up, but again, there's so many thousands of tracks in this song, you kind of don't even really notice it. And then they're doing their fade out thing. Get ahead of myself here. So let's go back to this victory lap vocal. So that happens there. Let's see what's all happening during this ring out. So the kill switch engage guitars are primarily the main beef here. So we've got basically bass guitar, that sub pulse thing. Still pulsing. Still pulsing because the drums are still going. Okay, it opens up there. So we've got the bridge, the breakdown, drum line, and then the electronic stuff is back for this outro. All this synth stuff just for ambience. Sauce. Boom happened along the way. Pretty cool chord change there. Some of the stuff stays on B, but then the root note goes to C. So we've got that sort of spooky tension there. Let's talk about the vocals here. I think this is some vocal synth stuff again. Yeah. So the lead and its duplicates.
What I say, they'll never.
Brightness there. A little warmth there, so the stack is.
I'll never hear what I say. They'll never hear what I say. No one will hear what I.
The intro comes back. So sticking with the vocal synth thing, we've got whispers. Synth. It's a lead, I think. There we go. Okay. In goes to and that's 4 tracks. I'm not sure what I've got going here. This looks like it's a clean one, and then this one's got some delay or crap on it. Okay, so it's warmer and fuzzier, and everything's got delay on it at this point, so. So all the synths are ringing out, and of course, one of my favorite parts here is the ultrasound heartbeat of my second child. That's in there just because why not? That's about the end of it. All right, that about wraps it up. That's the arrangement. And not so much mix, but just a lot of the sound design and arrangement, stacking and stuff I just want to show off. So, all right, thanks for watching. See ya.